Welcome to the video, guys. It would seem some former Brexit Party MEPs are calling out Boris Johnson for a possible plan to keep quiet about Brexit compromises with the EU. This is something many of my viewers have indicated they are rather concerned about, as am I. While I have said there is a possibility of a no-deal Brexit, there is also a possibility that the Tory party could sell us out. It is a political party after all, anything is possible, much like with the media. And given that time is tight, and as we have seen, the Tory party, even with a massive 80-seat majority, are still acting like they are under a hung parliament situation and being very careful about what they do, tiptoeing around the media to avoid any backlash, which just shows to me they are acting rather spineless. Now, before I get into the video, I have joined the new free speech version of Twitter, which is called Parler, and will be linked in the description, which is available on Android and iOS. So if you don't like Twitter or have been banned from there, be sure to follow me on Parler. Now, let's get on with the video. The Express has picked up on this story with the headline, Boris Johnson's plan to keep quiet about Brexit compromises with the EU will be exposed. Yes, it 100% will be. You can bet your bollocks to a barn dance I'll be exposing that at every opportunity, if he does it, obviously. There's no guarantee he will, much like there's no guarantee he won't. Boris Johnson has been warned that any plans he has to keep compromises with Michel Barnier and the EU quiet will be exposed. The Prime Minister has repeatedly ruled out extension to the Brexit transition period, despite the disruption caused to negotiations by the coronavirus pandemic. This only leaves two options on the table: strike a free trade deal with possible compromises, or brace for a hard Brexit on December 31st. The UK and the bloc remain at loggerheads over contentious issues, including fishing access and the so-called level playing field, which would prevent UK businesses from undercutting their rivals abroad. So essentially removes competition, which is obviously not a good thing, as we know. And we don't need to get into the fishing access issue, we've already gone over that many times. The government needs to take back control, end of story. Former Brexit Party MEP Belinda de Lucy said the disappointing lack of preparations for a possible hard Brexit on this side of the water means Brussels is not taking Mr Johnson's threat seriously, which is very true, though we don't actually know what no-deal preparations are going on, if any. I do agree that there doesn't seem to be much going on. Hopefully this is something that is just going on behind the scenes and we are not seeing because of all the other news that is around at the moment. But a big part of me thinks the Tory party are just being a bunch of bitches, as is a common theme from them, regardless of who is leading them, or as in this case, if they have an 80-seat majority. They are certainly not acting like it, if you ask me and a lot of other people. She believes the prospect of Nigel Farage relaunching the Brexit Party, which he is said to be seriously considering, could be just what the Tories need to push their no-deal threat harder, which is certainly something that is possible, though with no real elections coming up anytime soon, I'm not sure how much pressure Nigel Farage can really put on. Though saying that, Boris Johnson has often cucked to media pressure, so Nigel Farage only really needs to get some pot stirring going in the media for Boris Johnson to possibly flip-flop, as we have seen previously. She told the Express.co.uk, the question is, are the Tories really serious about no deal? I think they are serious about no deal, but I still think they would much prefer a deal with the EU over the no deal that we would all prefer, and in many cases actually voted for. There are a lot of people who are just not sure whether they've got the bottle for that, and so further compromises to get a deal done are possibly in the air, and the Brexit Party will be there to expose any of the compromises in a way that perhaps the Tory party would rather we kept quiet. Well, I can tell you what, Belinda, there'll be a lot of people on social media ready to call out the Tory party if they try to pull any stunts and give us a Brexit in name only, like Theresa May tried to pull before him. She warned against any hopes of the bloc caving to the UK's key demands in the trade talks. While it is not likely that they will cave, it is certainly still possible because we need to remember that they need us a hell of a lot more than we need them, but it would require the Tory party growing a spine, and that is not something I am sure they will do, given what has been happening recently and the responses to it. Mr Lucy served as an MEP for South East England, we don't give a shit about that. She said the EU is a very project-focused force, and its own ambitions remain their priority far more than a trade deal that I'm might take issue with, because we know the EU absolutely needs our money. As a matter of fact, they are more than desperate for it. They can't even pass their budgets or sort out their coronavirus bailouts, let's be honest here. She added, so for them to give us a good trade deal, they really have to believe that a no deal is an option and no deal is on the table. Yeah, they do need to believe that. I would 100% agree. Boris Johnson needs to come out and say, you know what, we would actually prefer no deal if the EU continue down this route. Will he come out and say that? I highly doubt it. I've not seen a huge amount of preparation for it in the press. Maybe it's being done secretly, who knows? This is something I have said, and given that the press are more interested in stirring divisions than actually covering what is going on or what is important to the people of this country, it would not surprise me if it's just a media blackout on that, because they consider something else to be more important to their agenda. Maybe Brexit's just not that important to them, who actually knows? But I think it needs to be a Tory commitment that they are considering no deal, because otherwise it's just a whole set of compromise, and then we get back to the Theresa May style soft Brexit, and we just can't have that. As I said already, it is possible that the Tory party take us to a Theresa May Brexit in name only, or it is also equally possible that they take us out with a WTO Brexit, or further to that, they could even take us out with some form of deal that is not like the Maybot deal, but is closer to an actual Brexit. Who actually knows what they could do? There is probably 100 possibilities for what the Tory party could do now, depending on whether or not they have more spine than an octopus, which is still up for debate, I think you would agree. She continued, I would love to think that Boris and Gove were really serious about a WTO or World Trade Organization exit. I've not seen much evidence for it, but I hope perhaps with more Brexit party pressure they will. I just can't see the EU backing down. If they think we're not going to walk away, they'll just push for more compromises. We will be right back where we were a year and a half ago. The Sunday Express reported that plans to relaunch the Brexit Party have been in the pipeline for months. A source close to Mr Farage said the party's phones have been buzzing recently with calls from furious Tory voters urging them to relaunch. Last week, the German government urged fellow EU member states to prepare for a no-deal Brexit, according to an internal document seen by Reuters. Berlin called for both national and European contingency plans to prepare for a no-deal 2.0. Angela Merkel's government warned from September the negotiations enter a hot phase. Britain is already escalating threats in Brussels, wants to settle as much as possible in the shortest possible times, and hopes to achieve last-minute success in the negotiations. And that is the end of the article there. Yes, the European Council might be leaking these reports and such. There is still no guarantee the Tory party are not planning for no deal at full speed behind the scenes. As I've said, the media are far more interested in a variety of other things other than what is actually going on with Brexit. You'll be hard pressed to find the BBC talking about this at all, that is for sure. Now, as I said at the start of the video, guys, don't forget to go over and check my Parler account. It is essentially the free speech version of Twitter. So if you've been banned from Twitter or just want to come and check me out over there, make sure you do so. The platform is growing day by day, especially in the last 2 days since Twexit was trending on Twitter near the very top. Now, as always, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who supports the channel, and my other social media links are down in the video description if you want to come and support me on Twitter, BitChute, and a variety of other platforms, including my second YouTube channel. As I said, all links are down in the video description.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.